And we are live. And I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight, everybody waiting. As usual, I am OUFlagGuy, aka Josh, joined by my co host, Sean. We are 28 days from kickoff, I think. 28? 28? I think 28. Sean, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
I think
Uh,
we're like 26 and a half or something.
yeah, for OU kickoff, yeah, we're like a little bit like right there at this point. Um, and it's funny because you mentioned like August is like the worst month for me. I'm finding a lot of content, but I also have other hobbies too at the same time. So I'm like, no, I'm good. This is great. I'm
No,
able to keep up.
no, August is the worst month.
Why is August the worst month for you?
It is because what is there to talk about really right now? There isn't
The
much.
hot takes. The hot takes, Sean.
There are no hot takes right now. If you have a hot take, you're stupid. Like,
No, that's fair. I guess
I
I'm
mean,
stupid then. I have hot takes, but
not you specifically, but like what hot take? What are you basing anything on? This,
oh, nothing
I,
specifically.
I mean, in general, I see someone's like, oh, this is gonna happen. It's like, all right, whatever. Not gonna matter. I mean, I guess the AP poll comes out next week, so people can talk about that, I guess.
Yeah, the AP poll comes out. That's the only one that really matters at that point. Well, we'll have what,
I
almost a
mean,
week
that's
under
the
our
one
belt.
people. I mean, that's the one people use up until the playoff poll comes out. So,
It's a placeholder at this point. Sean, how are you doing tonight? We jumped right in with talking about hot takes. How are you doing tonight?
all right, Sunday, just chilling, and I'm just not much happening. Just it's a very lazy Sunday for me, and I'm very, as you can tell, I'm very lean back and just doing whatever, and um, it's not much going on right now. Like, just kind of like it's been a quiet off season overall, which is a good thing. That's not a bad thing at all if you're OU.
Right,
But
right.
I mean, the only thing if you're OU, you're waiting on right now. You're gonna get a commitment on Saturday. Spoiler alert: we're getting Jacoby. Um, and you might get some news about a flip this week or a decommitment this week that's in favor for Oklahoma. So, but there's nothing promised right now. So that's kind of in the air at the moment potentially.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Peyton Bowen, come on home, baby. You, you,
to be fair though, I mean, it's just like what they report to practice what on Thursday. They'll
yeah,
have almost like
they've had. Oh
5 days.
They've had two practices and it's all sunshine and rainbows.
Oh, exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
unless your program is a complete and utter chaos, then all your fall camp reports are going to be sunshine and rainbows.
Well, as
So,
they have to build the program up for it to like get people hyped for the season, get them invested.
well, I told people like, look, they're posting the clips from practice. We're seeing Eric Gray touchdowns, and we're seeing like defensive backs make diving interceptions. So it's everything I've said that was going to happen. But fall camp right now, like all the reports that are leaking out are super positive. I will say that be thankful you got the quarterback from Pitt to transfer in because everyone else not named Dylan Gabriel is trash at the moment apparently. So, uh, so you have say like a Davis Bell or whatever his name is, like I think
Yeah,
from Pitt, and then you have and then you have Dylan Gabriel, and that's kind of that's your QB 1-2 right now, which is fine by me as long as you have two. Maybe Nick Evers or General Booty not looking great. It's two practices, but those two, not right now.
so knock on wood that Dylan doesn't get injured. I mean, to be
You've
fair, with
you've always, I mean, you feel that way
you
about
want it,
any
yeah,
starting quarterback. I mean,
right,
you don't want
right.
Bryce Young getting hurt. I mean, not everyone is Alabama and has like the next starting quarterback that's going to lead them to greatness right behind Tua, who like has the worst injury possible against Mississippi State like a couple years
Right.
back. So.
But I mean, still, I mean, to be fair, what you mentioned though with fall camp, I feel like it's really been at least what Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's been less about the players at the moment and more about just the talking points. Like they really have been pushing that versus the Riley administration. It's really been accountability. I keep thinking it's like the scorned ex-wife at this point, and that we're using Tebow's departure as motivation to drive these players. And it seems like it's working. At least to me, it
I
seems
mean,
like it's working.
they should have motivation regardless. They didn't win a Big 12 title last year. The ones that are here, there are guys who are here who haven't accomplished much overall. They've been on some good teams, but not some great teams. And everyone should have motivation to want to do well this year. So I don't think it's one of those things where it's like, we got to do better than SC. We got to do better than whomever. It's like, can you be a better version of yourself the next day at practice? Can you bring it? Can you be consistent? Like, consistency is what I care about. You're gonna hear about guys all throughout the next 2 or 3 weeks that are gonna have flashes at practice, and he made an amazing grab, an amazing catch. Okay, can you be the guy who consistently makes catches on basic routes? Can you run a 5 or 10 yard out route and make that catch every time? That's what I care about.
Well, and that's my question to you. I was going to save it for later, but who's going to be the player that steps up, in your opinion? Who's going to be the player that is going to surprise everybody? Who's going to have a sophomore slump, essentially, or a senior slump? Is there anyone that's really like you have a suspicion about? Or who's going to be the newcomer?
I mean, again, we're 2 practices in. You have to remember, these guys are in helmets and shorts. They're not even in pads yet. So you're not going to hear real, serious like talk about who's really doing well until they start putting on pads. This is early walkthrough type stuff. So I care about Dylan Gabriel continuing to be the man and sounding like he has full grasp of the offense, which he should.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't, that would be a giant red flag, and something's wrong with both Levy and him. And the offensive line. Like, I want to see what the offensive line does in the coming weeks, especially when we have scrimmages. Like, I expect the defense to go through a lot of growing pains. As great as it is that Brent's here and everything, and it's
still the same guys.
Well, no, it's not still the same guys. There's a lot of new faces. Like, we're not. This isn't the same defense where we have like Pat Fields and Darian Turner-Yell playing at safety anymore. So we're gonna have Billy Bowman and Q Lawrence back there. We're gonna have guys like Trey Morrison or Justin Harrington be like nickel. I want to see, how the D line does. I want to see what Jalen Redmond potentially can do. I want to see what a guy like not Neville Gallimore, but Kelvin Gilliam. Yeah. I had him on because I watched some plays earlier today. Kelvin Gilliam wears number 44, and he's a D lineman. That's a big, even though it's a linebacker number, that's still a pretty important number to wear on this roster. If you wear number 44 and you make plays, people will love you. So absolutely. There's a ton of guys out there that people are looking forward to. They want to see flash. They want to see make plays, and there's not going to be a spring game or anything that people can go watch. So you have to like take everything that's given to you and whatever reports leak out with a little bit of a grain of salt.
Yeah,
and just hope that when they roll out on the field on Owen Field against UTEP week 1, that they're going to look like a respectable Oklahoma team. If they were all there against UTEP week 1 and win like 55-7, people will be happy. I mean, it'll be okay. This is what a good football team is supposed to do. They're supposed to be a team that talent-wise, they're superior. They execute. They look competent. Maybe 1 or 2 things that you might be concerned about, that you had 1 or 2 plays that you want to clean up, but all you're hoping for is not to have that glaring issue that doesn't carry over to week 2 and week 3 and week 4 when you get into conference play, and all of a sudden it's, this isn't getting any better anytime soon. Here's a weakness and everyone can exploit if they want to. So again, like for me, this team is going to be just fine if the offensive line is gelling together early on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's talk of like Savion Byrd moving inside to guard, because Beanbell's going to put out his best 5. So if Wanye and Anton are going to be your tackles for whatever reason, and K Matower or Chris Murray, for example, can be supplanted by Savion, and then you have Andrew Rame at center, who once again openly says he got stronger. He got stronger in 6 months. They did in 2 years on the previous regime.
That was something I was going to mention was even though we're going to hear the positives with the players of, they're the best thing ever since sliced bread. This is the best they play.
Everyone's saying that across the country.
Right, but that's still encouraging, though, in the sense of that's where I was about to go with that, though, was hearing the players lose weight or gain weight and that they feel better at their position.
Sure, but again, these are things listen, I'm not saying these aren't factual. This isn't factual, because you look at height weights and they made the weigh-ins, the height and weigh-ins like a big thing like last week. It was an event. It wasn't just a thing where it wasn't just a boring like, all right, on the scale, 6'3", 270. No, they made it a party. They made it a celebration. It was a validation of all of the work they put in the summer. So again, it's like you like seeing those things, and some people will look at those things and go, oh, look how cocky and arrogant they are. But on the other hand, you're like, oh wow, like they're really building up their confidence and they're really building up the motivation for this team. So obviously I'm a homer and I'm gonna go for the latter, but it's a different vibe for this football team over in the offseason. This very easily could have been a doom and gloom season. Like, depending on things, we could have been looking West Coast and potentially seeing how great things are going out there. But the truth of the matter is, everything is not hunky-dory over there right now. Obviously, it's a much tougher rebuilding job over there in Los Angeles, and there's a chance he might lose his quarterback that used to be over here. So that'd be really hilarious. And I don't care what anyone says, like, you shouldn't want A&M to get him. I don't give a damn. I'll celebrate that and laugh my ass off.
You're against Eddie on that one. I don't get why people would celebrate that.
Of course it's celebrated. Like, fuck Eddie. Sorry, I like Eddie, but like, fuck the Scoop guys. It's like, oh, he's going to be a problem over here. And Josh McCuistion also says, it's like, dude, you're the guy who said Jimbo can't develop quarterback. So if it comes to A&M, why should I worry?
Exactly.
Like, no, like I'll be more. Listen, I've said this before. I'm going to be a petty bitch. I'm going to be a petty bitch for the entire.
Okay, but that's okay. But that's the thing I was referring to is like everybody knows. They always talk positive with it because they want people invested. They can't have people basically jumping ship already prior to the season starting. But there's still tidbits. I personally think the most interesting stuff so far, and you mentioned it, Sean, on your – well, let me back up. I'm going to back up first because it was either Joe or maybe it was Eddie. One of them mentioned it, so credit to them for that. Why are the players then buying into, like, where you mentioned, like, them doing the wave and making it like a boxing style type of deal and making an event? Why are they getting buy-in on something like this? Because one of them said it was like almost high schoolish, but they're buying into it. Who cares at this point? What is the difference of them getting invested in that versus then?
Well, you have a better culture in your locker room now overnight for the most. I mean, granted, it's been 6-7 months, but you have a better culture in your locker room now. I mean, who said it this a couple days ago? It was, it was Reggie Grimes, I think, said it. He said that something. I'm paraphrasing a lot here. He said something along the lines of, "You don't know you're in a bad football culture until the culture is gone, and then you see a new one come in."
Yeah, that's what he mentioned, where it was like when you're in the moment as the players, they don't really necessarily know it.
If you grow up in a household where there's domestic violence, and that's all you know, and you go over to your friend's house for dinner, and dinner's over, like you spend the night or whatever, it's like your mom and dad don't get to shouting matches with each other after dinner. You're weird. That's what it feels like for some people.
Right.
It's not like I have any experience with that or anything. But the point of the matter is that, there's just there's a lot of positivity and there's a lot of there's good energy. There's good energy. There's good energy of the program. And it's not going to be all just BS. There's going to be a lot of there's a reason they're winning these recruiting battles. Just to harp on recruiting, there's a reason they're winning these battles. We're seeing the fruits of the labor so far. Obviously, we got to get to December for most of those, obviously, but there's a reason I've said multiple times I'm excited to see this football team, what they can put out on the field. Having said that, it's easy to get swept up in all the hype and the hopium, because a lot of other programs have hype and hopium too, and only one team can win a national title. Only 4 teams can go to the playoffs. So on some level, you're going to be disappointed with your season for most of these teams. So for me, my expectations have always been set at win the Big 12 championship.
Right.
I don't care how many wins or losses you have. You can win the Big 12 championship. That's a great first year under this regime. You move on to next year, that's when you hopefully take the next step forward. It all depends who your quarterback is next year, depending on how well things go. But, again, just...
But what you mentioned, though, too, about the different locker room culture and stuff as well. I mean, Reggie Grimes wasn't the only one. It seems like they're also taking feedback from the coaches positively, like Danny Stutzman when Venables told him, "You're not ready for the Big 12 play. Like, the way you're built right now, you're going to get obliterated. You are not putting in the effort." And it seems like, I forgot which player it was who said, instead of them being yelled at, it's like, "No, you're doing it wrong. Do it this way. You're doing
Yeah,
this,
there was
way."
like someone was saying like it was the combination of like there's the old school. If I don't care if it's football practice or the army, if you're doing something wrong or do something like you expect to get yelled at, it's part of the culture. And we have guys come out and saying instead of getting yelled at, like they're getting there's like I think the quote was something along the lines of, "Hey, I see what you were trying to do, but here's how you do it properly." It's like you got these guys like Miguel Chavis who are just like, positivity machines out there.
Right.
And so now some guys, there's going to be some guys on any football team that will need a kick in the ass at some point. There will be some tough love for some guys. Like, let's not get misconstrued that everyone's going to be holding their hand and saying kumbaya. You still got to do the work. You still got to get better. And the guys who do the work and get better are the ones who are going to play. So I'm just still amazed that we have yet to have any attrition. Nobody's gotten in trouble. It has been the quietest off season. And again, it's August 7th. There's still time for
since Bob, though. Like, it's been really, again, knock on wood. I absolutely agree with you. But it's been very quiet.
There's going to be a moron or someone down the road who's going to do something. And sometimes it could be accidental. It could be whatever. But the stronger you build your culture, the less likely you're going to have that happen.
But that's half the battle right there, is having the players buy in. If they don't buy in, like, it is what it is. Like, but that's what you said too, is based on the feedback they're getting, like Danny Stutzman, it seems like he took it positively with Venables saying, "You're going to suck the way you are. You need to step your game up," versus,
I mean, you can either be a whiny bitch about it, or you can like take constructive criticism and, get coached up and get better. It's like, hey, this coaching staff, a lot of these guys have experience with winning championships and knowing how to get to the league. So again, we're gonna find out who the whiny bitches are. We're gonna find out who the men are who are gonna, take that constructive criticism, mold it, and bottle it up and use it to get better.
Right. Who was it? Was it Reggie Grimes who also said too that, like, he remembered like the difference of like teaching them like how to do the techniques and how to actually follow through on a play. They didn't get that feedback with Riley, because Riley would basically coddle the good players and would not actually yell at them, be like, "Well, you messed up. Let's just do it again," versus actually coaching them. Was that Reggie Grimes, or was that? I feel like was Reggie Grimes.
I mean, it might have been. I don't remember off the top of my head everything, but it's just, like what's past is past. Nobody knew what the hell went on. Like we're only now kind of like getting more snippets of what it was like to have a practice under the previous staff, and I'm sure you see some stuff pop up, like they'll try to stop themselves, like like the comment about getting, like Rames saying the comment of getting stronger 6 months to 2 years. Well, that's not a diss at the previous. It is, but you're not intending it to be. But it is. It's an indictment of the previous staff. It's like you're not getting stronger. You got stronger at 6 months than 2 years. That was obvious the way you guys were playing football the past 2 years in some instances.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, what did we bet it for every single game of they're getting by on raw talent? They're not getting by on coaching. They're not getting by on.
We won 11 football games last year, mostly for the fact that we were just more talented at some point. Like, you could argue Texas in theory had more talent, but I mean, the talent level was for the most part even that game. Every other game that the only game the games we lost because we were, even though we had more talent, Baylor and Oklahoma State, we got out coached, or we made stupid mistakes, mostly stupid mistakes in the Bedlam game. But we got out coached against Baylor because Rand is the best coach in the conference until someone steps up and takes that from him. Brent,
right?
Go ahead and do it if you can do it, by all means. But I told someone this day, it's like, look, I love Brent and everything, but we gotta see the product on the field first before we can.
Right. Because
Dave Aranda right now is the best coach in the Big 12. It's not Sark.
It's not Gundy either.
I'll put Gundy over Sark.
I put half the coaches.
Gundy's won a couple of major bowl games. So you can hate on we can make fun of Gundy. I'll make fun of Gundy all damn day, but he's won a couple of major bowl games and arguably could have been in the playoff a couple times. So
right.
Or the BCS, or he should have been in the BCS title game in 11, but that's a whole different deal.
Right, but again, it's just what you said though. Is we can talk positively, we can get sound bites because we're going to get that the next 3 weeks. We'll get the A people. It has to show it on the field, and in my opinion, in the first game. Using Tulane as the example, I'm okay with a little bit of rust. Okay, they missed a ball that was catchable. They missed her out. To me, if we're seeing some serious problems already in a game one where guys are just looking lost, they're getting already outmatched in the trenches, we've got issues.
Well, I mean, I've had there've been years where we've looked like garbage week one, and then we take a giant leap. That's when you make your biggest leap is week 1 to week 2. The problem is when you see those same problems week after week, which is what we had last year.
Right.
We had problems against Utah State and year under Bob and whatnot, but we always made a leap and we always got better. It was Utah State one year.
It was Utah State because I was at that game as a sophomore.
Wasn't it like the Akron game and Riley's first year as OC? The first half looked like garbage, and then they woke up in the second half and just.
Was it Akron?
Yeah, like 15. First half they played like garbage, and then they were able to. And then same problem next week at Tennessee. First half played like garbage, and then Baker Mayfield became Baker Mayfield after that. So there's plenty of games where it's like, first week not great, second week better. There's plenty, but that's under Bob's regime, and that's what Schmitty is there too. And I think Schmitty being back also is like a big boost to the program. But they were celebrating him. They were like holding him up like they just won the national championship in the locker room. So everyone's happy that Schmitty's back. I know that.
Well, and that was another tidbit that came from like the players, and they weren't trying to throw him under the bus, but our previous strength and conditioning coach Wiley, like they're like, this didn't help us. Like he did not know how to coach. Like, yeah, it was there, but it was what it was type of deal with it. And I don't necessarily blame Wiley, but it's like he didn't prepare. This was not football that he did. And that's why I think the O-lines and stuff.
Oh, no, we got that. We're not doing this CrossFit shit anymore. It's great if you're trying to lose weight and be lean and mean in the gym or whatever, but you're trying to win football games.
Right. It's not going to work at every single position for it. But you
want to get OU and Texas fans to agree on shit? They both hate Benny Wiley.
Yeah, because he didn't make the players prepared. Like, it's what you said. If you're running a marathon, you're doing bicycling, whatever, sure. That doesn't work in football. You got to be tough on it. But, I mean, to be fair, though, I've seen a lot of already, I guess, hot takes or predictions on it. And they're thinking, like, Nebraska's going to be a tough game. And I've seen this across a lot of radio shows. In the chat had it. I think we're going to blow up Nebraska, I'll be honest. I don't think they're going to be a tough game.
I mean,
I think we're going to walk in there.
The environment is going to be insane to start off with, and I think there'll be some emotion and some. Stoop said it best way back when. Like emotion can carry you for a series. After that, it's football. You can be hyped up. You can be emotional, hyped up, and make a play with emotion for one series of football. After that, you can't do that for 60 minutes. So.
You brought up a good point too, and this was a soundbite from which coach, Sean? You reminded me of it, but it was about the 5 stars. Of a 5-star is going to beat you, but if you recruit the wrong one,
it was Todd Bates.
Bates, that was it.
Yeah, Todd Bates says you miss recruiting a legit 5-star. He might beat you once or twice. You recruit the wrong 5-star, he'll beat you every day, and nobody has more experience in that than Oklahoma with 5 stars. Like our 5-star record is awful. Like, yeah, it is. It's like, who are our hits at 5 stars? It's like Adrian Peterson, Gerald McCoy, Joe Mixon. Was DeMarcos a 5-star? He may have.
No, he was a 4-star, I think.
So, I mean, it depends what.
But it's been a bust. RJ Washington was a bust. RJ Washington was a literal bust. Like
Smoke Patterson, Stephen Good, Jeremy Calhoun. I can go down the list.
Yeah, like you could go down it and you'll find the gyms. You'll find the people
Trajan Bridges. Guess what? You're a bust because you were a moron.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say Hazelwood was a bust, but he wasn't like he He wasn't the
Hazelwood,
5-star guy. He made some tough catches, and I'm not going to take that away from him. But so
yeah,
he wasn't just a guy, but at the same time, he wasn't like this legendary wide receiver like we were hoping to have. So DOE's got a shot, though. DOE's got a shot to be the last remaining of that trio to do something.
I mean, you mentioned all famous bust. I mean, Rhett Bomar is our second highest player ever, and he was a bust.
Well, that's because, I mean, here problem with Rhett was a good college quarterback, and he played as a redshirt freshman in 2005, and he gave a spark to that team when they needed it, but he was just a hothead, just moron. And unfortunately, NIL didn't exist in 2005 and 2006, and he got in trouble, and Bob said, peace. He cut his ass. He got rid of him because it was more than just the Red Sport Imports or whatever, like car dealership it was. It was more than just that with him. He got drunk at parties. He was just over. He and JD Quinn too were a bunch of idiots. So
yeah. But I mean, that just goes into our point of our 5 stars are.
We needed JD Quinn back then because our O line sucked for a lot of 06.
By the way, I was wrong. DeMarco was a 5-star. I was wrong. I thought he was a high-rated 4-star.
Yeah, but and DeMarco was legit. So
yeah, I mean that. But still, though, it's what you said. Like our luck on offense, like for every one good 5-star we get, it's kind
of on offense. It's almost everywhere. Like Smoke Patterson way back when.
Wasn't Dalton Wood? He was a 5-star, and then he just just disappeared, or was he a 4-star?
No, he wasn't. Dalton Wood wasn't a 5-star. He just like never showed up.
I thought he was a 5-star. I could have sworn
he was an H. Dude, Dalton Wood was an H-back. There's no 5-star H-backs.
Well, wasn't he going to play a tight end though?
Yeah, but
that's what they have planned for. Yeah,
but H-back can be a fullback, tight end, whatever you want to be. They can do both of those things, but he wasn't no 5-star. But yeah, that whole deal. So
anything else from camp or anything like that? Like we talked about really like what's really been going on, like coaching, they're really hitting it out of the park. Like really, I guess a question for you is with this coaching staff, do you think they're the best coaching staff in the Big 12 outside of like Dave Aranda being right now until he's
I don't know about Baylor's staff top to bottom, but like Aranda running his program the way it is, yeah, I mean he's not going to be a Baylor forever. At least I don't think he will be. It all depends what happens with conference realignment and what the Big 12 is going to look like in a few years. But I don't know. Just I got to see a product on the field. I got to see a product on the field for about a month. I gotta get a feeling for what it's going to look like. So again, it's nice we have sunshine and rainbows being pumped out, but
right.
Name me an off season or a camp where we didn't have sunshine and rainbows being pumped out. So I take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you read, whether it's Football Brainiacs or 24/7 OU Insider or wherever you get your info from, it's like, okay, cool. I'm like George McFly is like, I'm writing this down. This is good stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm just like, okay, we'll mark it down. We'll see if it comes to fruition. You would rather hear good news than the not good news. The only negative things I've heard is that our quarterback depth is 2 guys. And so.
But you said it was going to be Evers because what's his name was not pulling his weight.
Well, Nick Evers is a true freshman. I expect nothing from Nick Evers this year, and no one should. If we were depending on Nick Evers, we were fucked. So, and it's disappointing that early reports our General Booty is playing like Booty at the moment. But again, he's got 2-3 more weeks to figure things out. He just kind of just got here too. He didn't right. So. Again, I'm not going to judge him or Nick Evers harshly at the moment. I'm waiting patiently to see what the team looks like on September 3rd.
Right. Now, here's my question for you for that as well. Just put aside the sunshine rainbows, put aside like the positivity talk for it. Is there anything for certain that you're going to be looking for this first week of practice? Like little things that yes, that's good stuff coming out from the practices and stuff.
Not really, because they're not even. I mentioned earlier they're not in pads yet.
Right.
These first couple of practices don't mean anything to me.
Gotcha.
I want guys to not get hurt and to progress. Like it I'm trying not to come off as negative, like, oh, they're going, because I'm not.
No, it's being realistic.
But it's like you want to get excited because you because it all depends who's delivering the message. Oh, this guy looks really good. They look the part. They look good. If they can put it all together, you hear this phrasing and terminology. It's like I've heard this song and dance before. Like in my 20s, I would read reports like these and get really excited. Like, we're going to win the national title this year. Yeah. And it's like, then the guys you got to get all hyped up in these camps end up not doing shit or they suck. So,
right.
It's like, again, it's like, it's nice that you're hearing it, but
there's only so much you can take from it.
Yeah. There's only so it's like it's a message being filtered to other people who are filtering it to you. Correct. So again, just, it's positive stuff for the most part. The O-line looks good. Defensive backs look impressive at times. Little things like Jillo Farouk and Jaden Gibson look good. Again, all right. So there's some consistency with a lot of names we've heard in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get to UTEP and just beat UTEP. Want to get to UTEP and beat UTEP. I want to beat UTEP like we're supposed to beat UTEP. Then I want to beat Kent State like we're supposed to beat Kent State. And then let's go up to Nebraska and see what we look like. Because that's when you're going to find out about this football team when they go up to Lincoln. If they go up to Lincoln, they're not as good as they were last year, but if you go up there and you can win convincingly, if Brent can go up there and do his thing and like shut a few people up, because a lot of people are going to be, Nebraska will win that football game. If he can
they're already saying it.
No, I know, but if he can shut those people up in week 3, all right. And I'm sure, and the goalposts will get moved back after. They'll get moved back after that. I'm totally fine with that because at some point those goalposts going to hit a wall.
Right, and that's going to be the question too. And I had this written down for a question for you tonight. It doesn't matter when it happens. We get a good read. Like, I guess, what expectations do you have from Venables in his first loss versus Riley in his first loss? Like,
well, Venables has to lose first, and I think that's coming this year at some point. But I mean, everyone's trying to pick out what games he's going to lose or what he's more likely to lose. To me, the game I've talked about this like before. I think the games like that are likely losses just because of trends and just the unknowns right now. You go up and win that Nebraska game, and everyone's telling you how great you are. You come home, play K-State, and potentially lay an egg because you got to play those games back to back.
Right.
You got to play everyone points at Nebraska.
And K-State's no slouch. That's the thing. I even said, by the way, my dad, he was like, all right, you got those tickets. Sweet. Got K-State. But
no, it's like people circle Nebraska and Texas. Like, it's like, no, those aren't the games I worry about. I don't worry about those games. Like I'm not saying OU is incapable of losing them. What I'm saying is like that coaching staff is going to get them ready for those games. Like you think you think they need to get up OU do you think OU is going to sleep on Texas? No.
To be fair, over the past couple of years,
they're not going to. No, but like again, they're not going to sleep on them. Because guess what? No matter how close the game is, guess who always wins in the end? The good guys. So they're not going to sleep on that game. So the games I worry about the K-State game. I worry about Baylor at home. And another game I kind of like that's kind of out in the middle. It's not out in the middle. I worry about.
You dare say Oklahoma State? Don't you dare say that?
No, the game I worry about, believe it or not, is Texas Tech, our last game of the season, because it's weird. It's on the road. It's at the end of the year, and what if for some reason you get to that game with only one loss? And you're like, yeah, we clinched our spot in the Big 12 championship, this and that, and maybe we're in a good spot. And then you go in there, and then Texas Tech, who I don't know what their record's going to be. I know there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of positive buzz and momentum for Texas Tech right now. That's a dangerous game because a team could potentially be who could get a lot better by the end of the year than they were, because Texas Tech could lose a crappy game or two early part of the year, and you think that's who they are, and then you get to the end of the year, and like all of a sudden you become they're not playing for anything special. You're the game they care about, and then they come out and just whoop you in Lubbock. It wouldn't be the first time either. So that's a game I can, depending on how things are set up for OU. If that's a game where they need to win to get to Arlington, might be different. But if it's a situation where OU's rolling and everyone feels good about themselves, you roll into Lubbock all of a sudden a week away from Arlington, you still got to take care of business. And then what happens? How many times historically have we gone to Lubbock and just like, oops, lay an egg? And then you screw
under Bob, yeah.
And you screw yourself for a potential.
So here's my question, though, for that. Do you really think Tex would be the one with Joey McGuire, though? I'm a little more threatened by TCU over Joey McGuire's Red.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if you're asking me to pick a game or two that, like, I would circle as weird, or I would pick Tech on the road, last game of regular season.
Baylor, of course.
Baylor because of Dave Aranda, because Dave Aranda owns the line of scrimmage, and I worry about that K-State game because Kleiman's a hell of a football coach. So the games, everyone think, oh, you're going to worry about Bedlam. I was like, I ain't worried about Bedlam.
No, I'm not. They're gonna, in my opinion, they're gonna slap them up and down the field this year with it. They're gonna take some revenge out and get their rent back.
So, like, no.
Bedlam, I'm not worried about. Baylor, I absolutely, you had me convinced last live stream on it where initially I wasn't. And then I thought about it. I was like, okay, maybe he's right on it. Just like TCU, I'm a little concerned about TCU because they're doing Dallas back-to-back on it. And that's
that don't mean anything to me. It really doesn't.
Yeah, no, so.
That don't mean anything to me.
That means a little bit to me, but it's different optics of what I think. Like, the first three games, I'm not worried about. It's that fourth game. K-State does worry.
Like TCU, it's like, I mean, Chandler Morris better be the quarterback for them. That's all I know. If Chandler Morris isn't quarterback, something's wrong.
Well, he wasn't named the starter, was he?
He should be.
As far as I know, he was not named the starter.
Well, we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks, but anyway,
maybe it was just like they're just wanting to throw people off. But I could, right now they're saying Max is the starting QB. I think it's dumb. I was convinced that Chandler Morris was going to be the starter, but I was wrong. I eat my crow on it.
I think that dude could play, but whatever. All right.
Yeah, it was like back in June or something with it. But here's
June, right, whatever.
I think I saw like June, where they announced it. So
he's not you're not going to go through camp. Like OU goes through camp with a quarterback because Dylan Gabriel's been the QB since spring. He was brought in to be the starter. There is no competition.
Right. It's there for a show.
I don't know. There is no QB competition. That's one thing they have going for them. Like
everybody knows it's going to be Dylan.
You're not splitting reps. Like, okay, Dylan, you're getting first team reps. You getting the majority, and then all right, Bell, you get the other ones. So,
well, I will say, Sean, at least we have the fall camp stuff. We have that. Why don't we talk a little bit recruiting though with it, because we did have some stuff happen this week with recruiting.
I mean, there's not much to talk about right now. It's kind of the same as last time, so we're kind of just waiting at the moment.
Well, are we expecting any stars with any players though coming up? Is when that update? I guess
I keep calling him Bell, like Bevel. Davis Bevel is what I keep calling him Bell because I got Blake Bell in the mind. So hopefully I won't have to say his name very often this year. So anyway,
do we expect any? When's the next composite updates with the stars for players?
It all depends on the. I think that there's going to be a Rivals update soon. It might be this week. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
how often does Rivals update? Like about every 2 weeks, it seems like.
No, you don't update every 2 weeks. No, you major like every quarter for the most part.
Gotcha. It just felt like we just had an update at this point. Maybe that.
Well, no, different recruiting services do it at different times. And so the composite takes the composite ranking takes all the individual services and puts them all together, spits out a number. Like Metacritic. Yeah. You know how much I love Metacritic.
I know, you're such a big fan.
But it's whatever, it's the industry standard. So I used to not use 24/7 stuff for the longest time, but I just I kept on I got tired of arguing with people. Mm-hmm. And plus, Rivals has gone downhill the past couple of years anyway, so it's Suitor Scoop is destined to become the next On3 OU site whenever their contract expires anyway. So
I mean, they're getting close.
There's no way Scoop stays at Rivals long term. There's just
because
no
Rivals has gone downhill. What about well,
a bunch of sites are leaving Rivals like in droves. So like my assumption is that whenever their contract expires, they go on. So,
well, and I mean, I had a question for that, but that works out. You segued for that. What for someone that pays attention, they would obviously have there's Rivals, there's 247, there's On3, there's yourself. What other sites can people visit during the season that you say are credible people that they should follow with it to get some good OU content?
I mean, On3 doesn't have an OU site right now, so you can.
Oh, that's fair.
So, which is why I say Scoop is likely, in my opinion, the obvious move whenever they can do it. They're not coming out and saying it, but it's just no one goes to the Rivals camps anymore. Like they used to, they go to the 24/7 Future 50 stuff, and it's just recruiting announcements are made on 24/7 streaming. And when you see the CPS Sports Live announcements, they always use 24/7 rankings.
Yeah.
So 24/7 already has an OU site with Parker Thune and Brandon Drum. Thune is Thune is a really good young and up and coming dude. I mean, he's been around for a little bit, but Thune is kind of the guy.
Yeah.
He's a young dude, but he took his licks here and there, a couple of years ago. But Thune's a little bit of a sunshine pumper. He believes it. He believes in propaganda. He's a little less fanboyish about it. So I'll give him credit for that. Drum's an utter fanboy.
Drum has his content though, correct?
Oh yeah, Drum and Thune together. They always do live streams and stuff. They always they're the ultimate propaganda hype machine for OU recruiting. So if you want to hear sunshine and rainbows and recruiting, that's who you go to. Josh McQuistion at Rivals or Sooner Scoop is like the guy who Josh always has felt like lately. I've always liked Josh, but like the past year or two, it always feels like he's like a week and a half behind.
Yeah.
So there are things that have been happening lately where he's been caught way off guard. And I don't know. It's like it's a sources thing, and plus we're starting to get guys in new territories that he doesn't have as many contacts like he would have elsewhere. So it's not a slight against it. I don't think he's a bad dude, but it's like Josh is the main guy who talks recruiting rumors and everything. He has his weekly Sooner Scoop, and I mean, a lot of us will laugh. It's like, oh, he's given, we knew this a week ago, or from other places that said this. So it's like, it's a running gag in certain, circles and communities. So, but, I still like Josh. Josh is a good dude, and I'll continue to read Scoop every week and everything. But I just think it's inevitable that the Rivals website is outdated, and I hate, and the message boards are like 20 years old. And these message boards are just so antiquated, and it's just,
they show their age.
I mean, I don't know. It's like I just hate message boards in general because they're just message boards.
That's fair. I mean,
like the Scoop message board for the most part is full of. It's like there's like a handful of really good posters, but they get drowned out by a bunch of morons and assholes. And then you have the 24/7 board, which is, to be fair, they're just full of morons. So but that's just what message boards create,
right? So, I mean, it's that hive mind essentially for it, and they feed off of
the problem with message boards. You'll like, it's like, don't show weakness on a message board,
right?
If you don't be the guy who's not caught up with the info. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You'll see posts on 24/7 on occasion asking about how come we didn't get a guy. Someone asked like recently, how come we didn't get By Job? Dude, that was weeks ago. Why are you worrying about By Job? We went and got PJ Atabare, who's way better. Why are you worried about, why didn't we get By Job? What happened with that? And it's like, it's an innocent question. It's not a bad person, but it's like the sharks come out want to destroy you.
Right.
Because like when it comes to being into recruiting is a fucking curse. I hate it. I wish I didn't have to follow recruiting because it's a miserable year-round experience. It really is, because you saw Justice League Crisis on Two Earths, right? Way back
Of course.
You remember at the end when Batman's talking to Owlman? It's
like
the difference between you and me. You and I both looked into the abyss. You blinked. I blinked. I looked into the recruiting abyss and I blinked, and I can't get out. So, unfortunately, for what I do, I gotta stay on recruiting because it's content. Just reacting to recruiting is good content and good numbers for me, and it pays some bills. But I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I'm a recruiting expert. That's for other guys to be that. I'll give my 2 cents saying, "Wow, OU's recruiting is really good lately." I keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on. And it's a daily thing, man. It is a daily thing. Even when you think you have a break, there is no break. So, for the individual who casually follows recruiting,
I casually follow recruiting.
Right. So for the casual person who has a life, who has a job, who has family, who can't be in Discord servers all day, I don't mind if someone like that, from my point of view, they ask an innocent question. Hey, what's going on with this, this, and this? They're curious. They want to know. I don't think you should attack those people. The people I want to punch in the face are the guys who think they follow recruiting and then yell at you when you say or give an opinion on updated info that they're 6 weeks behind on. Right. I hate those people. I want to kill those people. I want to put them on a rocket and shoot them into the sun. I can't stand those people. Because 6 weeks ago, we may be on a 5-star for 2024 or 2023. We're all excited. But then new information comes out. We realize we're out of the race or we're going a different direction. And then when that announcement comes out and they don't go to OU, it's like, I was told 6 weeks ago. I was like, I hate you people. Like the ones who get mad over it.
Yeah.
So for the casual recruiting fan, if you're curious and he's like, there's more than enough people who'll be more than happy to talk to you about it. And like there's sharks out there that want to tease you and just be jerks, but that's the internet and that's message boards. That's just the way it is. And it turns people away. But for the asshole who thinks he knows what he's talking about when he's 6 weeks behind on info, like the Peyton Kirkland deal wasn't. I ran with
right.
Yeah. Like, there was some assholes like, you wanted him like 4 weeks ago. I wanted him, and then new information dropped. I'm like, I don't want him anymore.
Which, it is funny on that, because speaking of Texas, boy, have you been dialing the receipts in with Texas, like the past week, especially with what's his face with Colton. Man, we really didn't want Colton, even though he was a legacy player, because we weren't really.
No, they wanted Colton Vasek. There's plenty of recent message board posts from certain fans before he committed. Dude, he was hanging out with Arch 2 days before he committed to OU. Don't tell me you didn't want him.
Yeah, I had seen a lot that them saying they didn't want him. This was just a very recent thing that we really.
He was hanging with Arch. That's why my preview image is funny, because I have him hanging with Arch. That was 2 days before he committed to OU. Don't sit here and tell me that you didn't get a hard on thinking you were going to get a legacy player, a top 100 player in the country, going to commit to your school, and you could go nanny boo boo to all your rivals. Fuck you. Fuck you playing that card. Oh, we didn't really want him anyway.
Yeah, they didn't. They said
OU fans can play that card with By Joe because we got PJ out of Barre. Fuck you.
Yeah. Well, no different than the flip side of it is, what's his name? I have to look at my notes. With Macaulay Coleman, Nebraska really thinks.
You got me all fired up now.
I know, right? Recruiting.
God, I want to beat them into oblivion. I want to beat them 52-0 so bad. I want it to happen.
Which one, Texas or Nebraska or both?
Well, no, Nebraska's. You're talking about Macaulay Coleman. Look,
Nebraska is convinced that he is not flipping, like, at all.
Oh no, he's not flipping because he's not committed anywhere. He ain't committed.
Oh, they said he is committed to Nebraska.
Well, they say he's a silent commit. It's like, okay, like if you whatever. Look, that's going to be a tough hill to climb for OU. It is, because I would love to get Malachi Coleman. Here's what would have to happen. One, this is just step one. OU's got to go up to Lincoln and like win convincingly, and that's just part one. Like, just doing that, it wouldn't be enough, in my opinion, based on what I know. Nebraska would have to look mediocre again, which, let's face it, that's not out of the realm of possibility. And
well,
then
it is also do or die for Nebraska. Like, this is the game. If not,
if Nebraska rolls off 8 or 9 wins, I think Malachi Coleman commits. If they look like, if they're a 5-6 win,
though?
Yeah.
Well, is he a
Dude, they were a 3-win football team last year. If they were off 8 or 9 wins, that's an improvement.
Yeah, but do you really want to stick around with Nebraska for a year? You don't know.
But you have to, dude. You got to remember, he grew up in a Nebraska household who loved them. Hunters.
That's fair. I didn't think about that.
While OU did get Colton Vasek, who grew up in a Longhorn household whose dad played for the team, and we can go, ha ha, like it's not equal across the board everywhere. So that's going to be hard to overcome. Having said that, if you go up to Lincoln and win convincingly, and Nebraska's a 5 or 6 win team this year, and Jeff Levy uses Braden Willis like he's Keith Jackson in his prime. At OU, Malachi Coleman, come on down, come be the next first round tight end in Jeff Levy's system. So a lot of things have to go a certain way. You made his top 7. Okay, we'll see what happens there. But this is a long process. Like, getting Malachi Coleman would be great. It's not do or die for this class. It would be a great. Also, we got him. Yeah, that's what it would be. Like, the guys I'm concerned about, obviously people want they want DJ Hicks.
What's the status on DJ? Is it still status quo? Nothing really new.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing new right now. I mean, like, people are the word people are trying to figure out is there's. I don't want to use the word pressure, but there's encouragement for him to move up his date, to do it like in September. So
by OU or by Texas A&M?
Well,
or both.
A lot of people believe he, quote unquote, you want to talk about silent commits. A lot of people believe he committed to OU silently or whatever. And it's like, okay, if you're going to do that, you're going to commit, go ahead and commit. So I don't know. Like, that's another thing you got to be patient on. This is a 5-star. Some people are saying
he wants his time in the limelight. Like, he wants that, and that's fair.
But like, from what some people are saying, and this is a rumor, but they're just waiting to figure out his NIL stuff.
I've heard that. Even I've heard that. Where it's
they're he's good to OU. They just got to figure out his money, and he's good to go. I know people don't want to hear that, but yeah, once they figure out that part, he's good to go, and he'll be all set. I mean, Renaud is another guy who's
I was going to ask about Renaud. What about him?
OU and Bama. I feel as I'm talking to you right now, I still feel good about Jordan Renaud. There's no date, so it's just kind of sit back and wait. The only thing we're really kind of like anticipating maybe happening this week is we're going to hear, is Peyton Bowen going to finally decommit from Notre Dame? He may not necessarily flip anywhere, but he might publicly decommit. So
the rumor is, and I've seen it even across several of, like, I guess Twitter stuff. I guess when you do the searches, that they keep on saying like it's his mom that's pressuring him to stay at Notre Dame because of the schooling. But Peyton and Eli really want to go to OU to play with each other, and apparently the staff is very open to that. Like, they're both good.
Yeah, because Eli Bowen is a 4-star corner, and I wouldn't mind having a 4-star corner for my 24 class. I think he'd be the first 24 commit potentially if he. Yeah. And Jack, and like the last video I made, Jackson Arnold is on a mission from God to make this happen.
Yeah,
he wants Ryan Yates too at LSU. He wants all his teammates to come with him to OU. And Notre Dame fan in my comments is like trying to tell me about all these things, and it's like, regardless of whether Bowen comes to OU or not, he ain't staying at Notre Dame. I'll tell you that right now. He ain't going to Notre Dame. So
right,
I'm not going to say I promise you he's coming to OU, but everything is in our corner with the exception of maybe NIL money. And does he love his brother? Does he love his little brother and girlfriend and his teammates in high school more than money? We'll find out.
Well, yeah, and that was the other thing, and that was something I was unaware of until this weekend. Like, his girlfriend's going to be playing OU soccer.
All
that's
I know,
a big deal.
all I know is that no matter what anyone tells me, Pussy remains undefeated. It's got a longer streak than Goldberg. So
that's big brain mode. What about I had on the list as well. That was Peyton and Eli. What about Makari Vickers? Did we mention Makari and Vickers as well?
We're a couple weeks away.
What about Anthony Evans?
Couple weeks away.
And we got
August 26th, live on pay-per-view. 2 highly touted 4-stars will commit to Oklahoma.
Exactly. And then, of course, Jacoby is announcing this Saturday, the 13th.
So we already got one for August. We'll 4 seems like a low number considering what July gave us, but it is what it is. So
Gotcha. Well, and
who knows? We could have 5 depending on how things go this week, but we'll just have to be patient on that.
Right. And those are kind of the main guys that we're still waiting on. And I agree with you that looking at it, even for me, just getting notes on a live stream, just having that recruiting is exhausting, man. I'm just like, man, I don't know.
What do you think I told you like 10 minutes ago? I looked into the abyss and I blinked. It sucks.
Where I was leading with that is, when did recruiting become such a huge deal, like where people are obsessing of? Because even I don't remember it being like this 10 years ago. Like, when did it actually switch? We're like, yep, we got to start paying attention to the high school stuff.
Remember when Jacquez Petaway committed?
No.
In July, the big time wide receiver. Like, we had I know we had 10, 11 commits, but Petaway was a big commit. He was a huge commit.
I'll be honest, I do not remember, but July was strategic planning and stuff at work. That was probably not a priority.
Okay, I was on
I'm sorry.
Okay, but anyway, Jacquez Petaway committed. Big time 4-star receiver. I was on a date that night, and it's like, what are you looking at? It's like, I'm sorry, Jacquez Petaway committed. Who?
I'm doing my job.
I couldn't do anything in July. I couldn't hang out with people without my phone on Twitter or whatnot, looking at commitments.
Right, but when did it still become this thing that it's a big deal? Like, you and I talked about actually where college football, it doesn't end. It seems like there used to be the true, okay, we can take March.
I can find a few months or here and there where it's not happening for the most part. May is a month that I don't pay attention that much to college football. June is okay sometimes. But once we get into July, it's over. Once we get to July.
Well, I guess maybe
you got recruiting and media days, and then we're into August, and everyone's in preview mode. Everyone wants to predict everything. Everything is going to be predicted. Every snap is going to be predicted for this season. So,
right. It just doesn't end really.
No, it doesn't. I'm gonna be dead by 50 because I'll be waiting on the commitment of some 4-star outside linebacker from Denton Geyer or somewhere, or whatever the hell, and then I'm gonna croak, and I'll be free from following recruiting ever again. He died he died with notifications on for a 17-year-old safety out of Tallahassee, Florida,
who ended up not committing. Well, and speaking of the recruiting stuff, there was actually something I heard. And I had an intrigue with it. I think it was the Scoop guys, but they brought it up, and it was something. Are we getting too many NIL setups at this point for players? Because they said it almost seems like a pyramid scheme where people are having this, but they don't have the money. It's like, oh, pay into this. How do they know this is actually going to go to the players? They seem like it's in my opinion,
you're gonna know. To go to the players because who's going to stop the players from speaking up? It's not like it's against the rules for NIL anymore,
right?
It's not like it's 2004 where they can't yell about not getting paid by boosters illegally or whatever. It's like people can speak up now, or they can just leave or transfer out. So,
right,
look, we're in the early we're still in the early stages of all this stuff. We're in year 2.
Yeah.
So, to me, NIL, I'm not worried about it. I know there's every school's I know there's the Norman NIL thing and Gabe and Teddy,
Dusty
DeVore, Gabe and Dusty Dvorak are doing some, and you got like the one Switzer's tried to do or whatever. So again, I'm not worried about it. I'm not stressing over it. And you know what else I've learned? People don't like talking about it. It's not a fun thing to talk about for some people. Like,
because it ruins the sport for them.
Yeah, I mean, and I get that. That's why I'm like, unless it's like major breaking news, like people like they just don't care. Just like whatever. It's like, don't talk about the labor. Just show me the baby.
Yeah.
Like I think like I there are certain things like I cover for my videos, right?
Right. Recruiting, post game.
Like, I talk about playoff expansion. No one cares. They don't care.
Really? You would think that they would care about that. That's kind of a big deal.
Not really. Like, I mean, it has to be. It can't just be a random opinion I have on a Tuesday. It would have to be, in order to get like traction, it would have to be like, breaking news: 12-team playoff announced officially, or something like that. But if someone has a random opinion and I'm reacting to a random opinion that I think is good or dumb or whatever in between, I mean, nah, it's not gonna get any traction.
Huh. I figured that would get traction.
Here's what gets traction. Player commits. Boom. Good news. Me making fun of Texas or something like that. I hold back on a lot of stupid things people say. I could like go ham on every day on something stupid, but I want to save it for something real or something that matters, because if I'm pissed off about something, I want it to matter a little bit.
Yeah.
If I get pissed off over every little thing.
Oh, hey, look, we found him at 45 dead.
Yeah, it's like, if you want me to see me react to stupid shit, I might do it on Twitter at this point, but I'm not going to make a video about it. And some people ask me, did you hear what so-and-so said? I don't care.
You've reached that age, Sean, that you just don't care.
No, but I'm not above making fun of people for stupid opinions.
I mean, weren't you the one that I laughed at? Because you I think it was you or somebody else who retweeted, because the Texas guy was like, y'all have more recruits than we do and couldn't even do basic math. And he showed his work.
I mean, that's Twitter. That's Twitter stupidity. And it's not worth making a video about, but I don't know. Maybe one day I'll realize, I should have been doing these all along. But it's like, you know what? I haven't made a video in a couple days because there hasn't really been anything worth talking about to make a video about. Yeah. And I'm not going to do, I mean, granted, it's like, I'll find something to talk about tomorrow probably. But
yeah,
I just wanted to chill this weekend. I just wanted to chill. And I did that. I relaxed. I just did laundry. I did all the little things that you do.
I did laundry. I was very happy and proud. I got 5 loads done.
I'm doing my little tradition where I rewatch Red Letter Media's Best of the Worst series, where they're hour-long episodes where they review 3 really bad B movies and talk about them. And there's over 100 episodes, and I watch a couple a day, and it's like my build up to the season. It's like, all right, this will be my non-football content that keeps me busy in the background. And just listen to Rich Evans scream AIDS every so often, and it's funny.
Well, and that's me. You got to have the hobbies to get you through. You got to have other things.
It's not even a hobby. It's just it's background noise for me while I'm doing whatever.
Well, for me, it's I have to have something else besides football with it. Otherwise, I would go insane. I got to have other stuff. I got to have my.
There are people who have nothing but football to look forward to, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you're miserable. You're miserable right now because it's August 7th, and I always get to this argument every year about week 0. People get excited about week 0. I'm like, you're not really excited for week 0. You're really
my dad is excited for week 0, but that's
your dad's not really excited for week 0.
Oh, he absolutely is. He is ready for week 0 because
he thinks he is. He's not.
To watch. But he doesn't really watch NFL. He likes college.
Ed, you're not excited for week 0.
You're gonna make
you're not really excited for Nebraska, Northwestern, and Ireland. You're not really excited for that. I know you think you are.
You're not excited. Then he got pissed because he's like, wait. What time is it? Does that something I have to get up at 4 a.m. for? No, Dad. It's 11 a.m. kickoff our time. Oh, I'm good then. I have to respect him for that.
People trick themselves into being excited for week 0, and I don't fall for these traps. Like ESPN is telling you college football is back August 27th. That is a bold-faced lie. Don't believe him for a second. Like, is my team playing on August 27th? Fuck no, they're not. So college football's not back. College football returns September 1st. I'm going to be there September 1st, and I'm going to watch Central Michigan beat Oklahoma State again in Stillwater. It's going to be great. It's going to be hilarious. No, you don't need to watch Picard. Picard is fucking awful. Don't watch Picard. Fuck Picard.
Well, it's funny though, Sean. You mentioned that because I kept hearing on the radio.
We just got the Star Trek documentary, but whatever.
I mean, I want to watch Picard, but I like the Next Generation. I really like Deep Space Nine.
No. Oh, you like those shows? Then you'll fucking hate Picard. Don't watch Picard.
Oh.
It fucking blows.
Oh.
It is. I thought it is hot. Like, there is no good Star Trek anymore. It's all garbage.
What about the one Below Decks? That one I heard is actually pretty good, but it's funny.
It's a cartoon. It doesn't count. No. It's like there's like 2 jokes that are funny. It sucks. It wishes it was Rick and Morty. It's a poor man Rick and Morty ripoff. It doesn't even do that right.
Okay, that's fair on it. I mean, I've been catching up on anime right now, so that's half my battle. And watching X-Men the animated series and getting ready for next year.
You know, because I did my thread. I've been doing my thread today. 1 like equals. I'll talk about something from each year from 2022 and before. There's plenty of good stuff that I've talked about today. So
that's exactly.
And you need to like that first tweet so I can do more. You haven't liked any of this. You haven't liked that tweet yet. So go to my thread and like it. Do it.
See, now I got to see what. Okay, I'll go and look. I'll take a look. But yeah, I thought I've heard positive things about Picard, but okay, fine. I won't watch it. I won't waste my time. I'll just watch Ted Lasso. Like everyone's told me I need to, but I don't have.
Yeah, Ted Lasso is good. The 3rd season's going to debut at some point, but it's the last one. So that's what I like about Ted Lasso. It's not overstaying its welcome. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I guess really, I mean, we could talk shows for the next 15 minutes if you want, but what else has been going on, Sean? I mean, with fall camp is this week, we'll get more tidbits. We'll have recruitment stuff, but that's kind of
I just want to I don't know. I need people to eat shit this year. That's what I want. I need a lot of people to eat shit this year, and I'm looking forward to it because I think it's going to happen. Which receipt
are you most looking forward to?
I have a box full of. I have more receipts than an old man in a shoebox has receipts. You know.
Oh, bro, I know you do. You have a house. You have a trucker at this point with receipts.
Like, we have a thread full of receipts of stupid things people have said, and there's some people that matter and some people that don't matter. But I need people who said certain teams are going to be playoff teams. I need them to have really, really bad falls. I really do. Like not fall down now. Some of them I like to have them fall down some stairs, but I mean fall the season.
So, right. I mean USC.
There's a handful I wouldn't mind if they fell down some stairs. Like I need I hate the lazy surface level takes that are just clickbait troll.
Oh, I'm tired of those too.
And they're allegedly professionals. I need them all to eat shit. I
saw one
so badly to eat shit.
There was one where they asked in the Big 12, they said, okay, who is going to, if you had to pick who was going to have a better season this year, OU or OSU, who would you pick? The hottest take I saw on it was, it's OSU, obviously, because Spencer Sanders is the best quarterback in the league. I'm like, bro, he's not even the 5th best. Like, what are y'all smoking?
No, it's not even those. Because that will, we'll see how that'll get proven on the field fairly soon.
Yeah.
I just, deep down in my heart, I want OU to run the table. It's not going to happen. But deep down in my heart, that's what I want. I mean, I want that every year, but, if OU could find a way to make the playoff this year, that would be great.
Oh, you'd be catching for.
I wouldn't, and I wouldn't even. I don't even want them to win a game. I just want them to make it
because that shows good.
Because stuff. It's okay, and then they'll be just if they could find a way. I just want them to be in the conversation at some point.
Well, they're already in the
I
conversation.
still think they're losing 2 games, but it's like it would be. I just want them to be legitimately in the conversation, and they won't be in the conversation because some people will like. But I want every year we've made the playoff, pretty much every year, with the exception of like 17.
Yeah,
we've always had to jump in at the very last week, right?
yeah.
Every time we didn't get into the 4 more times than not till the very last one that mattered, right?
With the exception of what 18 with Baker's senior season, like we were set on that one.
No, yes, 17.
Happen.
Like we were pretty much we like 15 we were guaranteed. 7, so it was like 18 and 19 were the years where we had to like kind of jump in,
right? And it was like
because we had to like we had to win the Big 12 championship, and we needed like a certain team of the SEC to win or lose,
and it worked out every time.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, Bama and Georgia are going to knock one or the other out or something like that, and then we get in. Like, I need OU at some point to be in that position where you're coming down the final stretch, and if like things go the right way, they can make it. That's all I want. I want them to be at that point. Now they'll have to be a 1-loss team to do that, but I mean,
but it's possible. Like it's not like
there isn't a team on their schedule I don't think they can't beat this year. Like where I feel good, or I don't feel awful about their chances, except maybe Baylor, because Dave Aranda still scares me. I got to see the O-line play better. Like I need to see the O-line not do not pulling the guard like we always did before under Riley. I need to see them not pull the guard every time.
Yeah.
And just where Aranda just basically seals the edge and just blows that up every time. Like, it's amazing how like the zone read worked a lot better, and we were able to the zone blocking worked a lot better. And oh wow, we made plays there, but like, you know, we got to do the guard tackle counter every time because that's our bread and butter. But I don't know. Aranda coached his team up to how to stop that almost every fucking time. Fucking time. And I hated him for that. And I hated him even more but I'm going back to that again. But I need to see the offensive line hurt some people this year. And I think they can. I need to believe in the hype on the O-line a little bit. I need to see them but if the O-line struggles, 2-3 loss team. We're a 2-3 loss team.
Well, and is
the O-line gel? Like, okay, we're gonna be good.
What will be the red flags for you besides like switching guard? Like that would be the red
flag.
Well,
we got to see how linebackers play because it's Brent's system, and Brent it can be complicated. There's a lot to know. There's a lot to remember. It's not very simplified. He's gonna like. There's a chance, depending like a TD Roof potentially could get more playing time. I'm not saying he is. But a guy like a TD Roof could get more playing time if he knows the system in and out, as opposed to a Kip Lewis or a Danny Stutzman, because they're still learning. Like they don't know all the calls or what they're supposed to look for, even though they're more talented, right?
Right.
So, or Kobe McKenzie or something like that. So, but again, TD Roof was really, really good at Appalachian State, so he may get a few snaps here and there.
But don't you think the O-line is going to be a little bit better, considering Levy's probably going to run the ball 40 to 50 times? Like, you make that kind of clear, like, we're running the ball.
Well, I don't think we're going to be running like 90 plays like we were under Riley. But yeah, we're going to run the football like, I don't know if we're going to run it 40, 50 times, but we're going to be physical running the football, or we're going to attempt to be physical running the football. So it's just, I need to see us play. I think what I told, when I was on the Horns Down, I need to see the trajectory.
Yeah, how was that podcast, by the way?
Yeah, it was fun. I've done it before. I did it on Anchor or whatever the thing it's called last time, but this go around I was on the YouTube thing.
Oh, cool.
I need to see the trajectory of this team. I need
on the field stuff.
No, even if we lose, I need to see them getting better, because like the difference between like this is what's going to set Brent apart. Because if Brent is anything like Bob, like in Bob's heyday, we've had subpar seasons at OU, whether they were 8 or 9 win. Like usually his subpar years were always like 8-win seasons. Bob's subpar years, 8 wins and a bowl win. That was like, subpar OU Bob Stoops. But what you saw in those seasons, even in the losses, as the season went on, you had hope for next year because
you had moments of brilliance, essentially.
No, not even moments of brilliance. You saw progression. You saw where the team got better. You saw players developing. You saw, okay, this is what it could look like next year with more wins.
Right.
Like you saw what Ryan Broyles could be. You saw Ryan Broyles is a perfect example. Like 2009, Broyles became a star, and then it's like, okay, if he had another receiver to help out, if the O-line gets a little bit better, Landry Jones has a year in his belt, and what happened the next year? Like, DeMarco came back. Well, no, DeMarco came back for his senior year. Kenny Stills as a true freshman made an impact. Landry Jones was better. The O-line was a little bit better. They had a 2-loss season, won the Big 12 championship. I've been saying, like, if you give me like a 2010 type of OU year, then that'd be great. Win a Big 12 title, then go win a major bowl game. I'll be a happy camper.
Yeah.
So
because that was what it was like. I was trying to remember it was 2011, the Florida State one, where it's like they started off hot and you saw the progression.
They had a lot of hype. They had a lot of preseason #1 hype. But 2010 was like they lost that game against Missouri on the road, and they lost at A&M, where there was a couple plays that Landry just missed
threw up
wide
on himself.
Open. Yeah, it was bad.
Rough.
Like if Cam Newton had committed to OU, we won the national title.
Yeah,
like because he would have just like, all right, Cam, do whatever you want. Because think about this. Cam at OU would run through the Big 12. We'd play Oregon, and it would be the same outcome, pretty much. It would literally be the same effing outcome. We would win we wouldn't play an SEC team. We'd play Oregon, and we win the national title.
Right.
We beat A&M. We beat Missouri. Like, just like he wins the Heisman. He's our guy then. So, like, he got ran off by Landry Jones, which is like the funniest thing. We would have taken Cam Newton in a heartbeat, but Dad was shopping him around back then.
I don't know what you're talking about, Sean. That didn't happen before NIL.
Yeah. What do you mean Mississippi State tried to pay him? Well, he didn't go to Mississippi State, so there's that whole deal.
Yeah.
I'll never get that build up to that Iron Bowl where there was like whether he was going to play or not, because there was like the NCAA is trying to investigate whether this was, and so they decided that he was good. And then the guy running the Alabama PA system for like the pregame warm-ups was playing songs, Took the Money and Run, and Son of a Preacher Man.
Yeah.
Of course, he got fired for it, but you know what? He went out in a blaze of glory. He went out in a blaze of glory. That Bama PA guy went out in a blaze of glory. Too bad they lost that game, though. Bama should have. Now that's another thing. First quarter, all emotion, emotion. Bama just 21-0 off, and then slowly but surely,
the emotion went away, and
then an amazing play. They forced the fumble out of Mark Ingram. Ball went out of the back of the end zone, and then that would have sealed it. If Mark Ingram doesn't fumble that football and he goes to the end zone, that's game over, man.
Yeah,
I got that game. I got the game downloaded. That's a fun game to watch because it's like, how did they lose that?
Ooh, that's actually a good one for like.
How did they lose that? That was a legendary Iron Bowl. Like people talk about 13. It's like that 2010 one, the Comeback's a good game to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always like go back and watch other games too. But
what are your usual go-to games that you go back and watch? Like, just to get me back in the mood.
Well, normally I watch good games from last year, and I can't do it that much because it hurts too much. I see who's there, and I see who's coaching, and I can't watch games from last year. Listen, last year was just a miserable experience overall to begin with.
Man, but still, I will always emphasize that Texas game. That's
sure, but
I will. One.
Sure, I'll watch plays here and there, but I can't go back and watch it. I can't do it. It's miserable to watch who's on the sideline, who's at quarterback.
I understand that, but
ESPN. ESPN Plus has the OU stuff on ESPN Plus is a lot better now. They've it's a lot more. The first day launch was like, ugh. It needs some work.
I heard it was rough.
But they have a page now they have a channel page now, so you can go under the channel section in ESPN Plus and click Sooner Vision.
Yeah,
because day one, it's like you don't have a channel page. Like, what the fuck? It's like, if I can't figure it out, my 80-year-old father is going to call up and ask me. It's like, he ain't going to figure it out.
Yeah.
So it's like they have a channel page now. It took a minute, but like it was a soft. It was like Ocean's 13. It's a soft opening. It's not the grand opening. It's a soft opening. So, but they keep adding more content on the reg, and people are,
they all going back and watching A&M from 2003.
They'll watch the 03 A&M game that's on there, of course. 13 Bedlam's on there, 17 Ohio State.
That's still one of the funniest ones, by the way, with A&M. I remember that from Bob's book where he was like, yeah, I called the dogs off on them, and they wouldn't stop us. Like, I had to make them stop. They should have scored 100 on them.
What people think, like, that wasn't like a game of like turnovers either. It was just like
domination.
It was just 3 and out, force a punt, go down, score. 3 and out, force a punt, go down, score. 3 and out, force a punt, go down, score. I mean, the first quarter, it was only 14-0 in the first quarter. Then the second quarter happened.
Yeah, it was like
the second quarter was like, oh shit, this is over. So,
and then the third quarter happened.
That's when a turnover or two happened. It's like, what do you want? What do you want, Bob? What do you want? That was like back-to-back weeks of like, they killed Oklahoma State the week before, and then they do that, and it's like, well, no one's beating this team. And they're like, fuck. Then we all know what happened after that. But yeah, it was just, it's a game people love to, touch themselves to, and I don't blame them. It's fun.
You brought up the 2000.
I mean, 77 points were scored in 2004, but this time we only got 42. But it is whatever.
It is what it is.
Put that game up. That's a fun game to watch. Put up that 04 game where Jason White finds Mark Bradley and takes the lead for good.
Yeah.
And then he had that heart attack Hail Mary at the end of the game. Ugh.
Well, another good one is the 2003 Bama one. That's a good one. That's a really good one, in my opinion.
Where they had the fake punt and everything.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I have to wonder, are there some games that they're not going to put up there if certain people are calling them because there might be some... There were some issues. Like, I have to wonder. There might be some games they have in their vault that they can't or they won't put up there based on certain play-by-play guys who may not be kosher to have, on there anymore.
Maybe. I don't know. That's something. Going back on the games for a second, I thought about this a little bit, and I bounced back and forth on it. But
I mean, I got my copy. I got my copy of those games, so I don't care. So
That's fair. If Bob wins 2003 and 2008, do you think the entire realignment, the SEC dominance, all that's different?
No,
because Bob has 3, and it.
No,
you don't think so?
What? Because they would still have like. Oh, are you kidding me? They would still make T-shirts of like having all this stuff. What if like? I mean,
Nebraska and A&M leave.
Why? Like they don't. They still look at what Clemson did. Clemson does things. They've won a couple championships. They still shout SEC. You think that's going to change anything? No. They still chant SEC. We would just be the team they talk trash to the most outside of the league. That's what they would do.
That's fair.
It's what they do with Clemson. We would be what Clemson is.
Gotcha. I just kept thinking of if he won those games, maybe drop USC still. Does the trajectory change?
No, because in Florida, LSU, and Bama, they all still get theirs at some point. Like they would have them in other years. So no, I don't think so.
Do you ever have a what if? Like,
are you kidding me? What if? Off seasons are built for what ifs, but
that's fair.
I mean, it's what you do to kill time. But sure, it just
what's your biggest what if?
just pisses you off at the end of the day. I don't know. Just run the football with Keywan against LSU. Take the ball out of Jason's hands because he's banged up and he's a sitting duck back there.
What about, is there a running back you could have replaced?
Hey, DeMarco, sit out the opening kickoff. Actually, you have the rest of the night off. You're good. Against Missouri. Seriously, yeah. Oh wait, yeah. Like, hey, DeMarco, we think you're sick. Yeah, just sit out the game. You're good. Listen, trust me. It's we're quantum leaping this bitch. It's all right.
I was just curious on it. There's just certain ones where I was just always go back and be like, what if we changed it? Like, who do you replace? So, like DeMarco in the Florida game. Like,
yeah, I kidnap DeMarco and I say, hey, you're not feeling good, dude. Why don't you just like kick back in the locker room? Let's let Moses Madu carry. Let's let Chris Brown and Moses carry us for this game. We good. We got this.
Yeah. Would have, could have, should have with it. I mean, no different than what's Billy Sims if he didn't fumble all those times. We probably would have had another one too. And that's the ones
who would they have played in that 78 game? That's a good question. Because OU would have won. They would have won. Well, they already won the Big 8 that year, but it's like, who would they have played? That's a good question. Let me look up. I'm actually curious because I know Bama, like, they wouldn't match up 1 and 2. Hang on.
Well, curious. The 78 team was Bama and
Bama and USC.
Southern Cal.
Yeah, Southern. It wouldn't be Southern Cal. Look at the bowl games real quick. Okay, that's so
take a look at.
If OU is number 1 in the Orange Bowl, they wouldn't meet up. They wouldn't send Nebraska go to the Sugar. There's a good chance we would have played Penn State. Maybe we would have played
not Alabama or
no. Bama would have gone to the Sugar Bowl because of the SEC. We would have gotten.
You're right.
We could have gotten, just looking at these, we could have gotten Notre Dame. We could have gotten Penn State. USC and Michigan would play in the Rose.
Right.
But if like OU was undefeated, because OU would have beaten Nebraska, they would have rolled Oklahoma State like they always do. And then they would have, and they wouldn't play, Nebraska would play Bama in the Sugar.
What? Okay, flip it.
Probably.
Yes. Yeah. Take Nebraska out. Could a team that was in another bowl would have been picked up, or it would have been moved around somewhere else with it, or was it just how it was set up? All right, because I'm just quick.
Well, no, the Big 8 champ went to the Orange. USC, I mean the Pac-10
and the Rose,
10,
right?
Rose. SEC always went to the Sugar more times than not. I mean, Bama would go to the Orange Bowl some years. So I don't know. Like, we could have played Bama in the Orange potentially. I don't know how that could have potentially happened if they wanted to really. We always made the joke that like. The Nebraska thing happened. Here's the thing about the 70s. Penn State was everyone's bitch in the 70s. Everyone beat Penn State. Penn State was number 1. I don't care. They were everyone's bitch. Everyone wanted to, if you would have polled people, I think everyone would have rather have seen Bama and OU. Like Switzer versus Bear Bryant, because we never got to. The closest we got was that Blue Bonnet Bowl in 1970 when Fairbanks was the coach, and they had that tie. That was the closest you got to Switzer versus Bear Bryant.
Yeah.
Like if I go back in time, if you're talking about what ifs, if I go back in time and give us like a mid to late 70s bowl between OU and Bama, like Switzer versus Bear Bryant, that is a crime. We never got that game. We never got a Barry Switzer versus Bear Bryant, both teams, because those were the two best teams of the 70s.
Oh, absolutely.
It was OU and Bama. And I just think that, you know, what did Switzer do in the 70s? He beat Woody Hayes. He beat Bo Schembechler. He beat, like, I think, was John McKay the coach in 71? I think he was.
And that's what you said too.
It was either John Robinson or John McKay. I forget who the coach was in 71. Beat USC. We didn't play Notre Dame in the 70s. Penn State. We beat Penn State. We beat Joe Paterno. We beat Tom Osborne. So getting that check mark, that pelt on the wall, potentially playing Bama would have been great. I think just like having a switch. If I can go back in time, here's another thing. Now that we got NCAA football back, start next year. in future games, I want classic coaches. I want to license classic coaches. I want Switz. I want a 70s OU team and a 70s Bama team in an old school Orange Bowl or whatever, or an old school Sugar Bowl, and I want to play that game. I want classic, because they used to have classic teams on the PS2 days.
Yeah. Well,
I want something like that. I want to do Bear Bryant versus Barry Switzer in a video game one day.
Well, and that what you've told me before too. At least I've read it. It's always been the debate who had the better Wishbone team. We know we had the better Wishbone team, but was it Bear Bryant or was it Barry Switzer?
Texas invented it, so. Obviously.
Oh well. Yeah, cool. They did. Cool.
I mean,
nice.
yeah. I don't know if they invented it, but like they were the first to popularize it.
They popularized it, but they didn't streamline it. I mean, kudos to them. So, anyway,
you watch you watch the iShield 21 anime, like the Devil Bats use the Wishbone in one game, and they credit Daryl Royal in Texas for the Wishbone. So it's like they're the ones.
It's true, but that
so like, I love iShield 21. I was like the Wishbone. It's like, oh my god, they're using the Wishbone. This is so awesome.
Okay, only if they mention the Oklahoma.
People don't realize it's like someone in a Discord a couple weeks ago asked, like, they're talking about like Haikyuu and stuff like this. Like, man, wouldn't it be cool if there was like an anime like Haikyuu but for football? And I'm like, you don't know? And I say, iShield 21. It's like every time it's like there's a football anime and it's awesome. And
you recommend it to everybody.
But nobody wants to watch 145 episodes of subtitled anime. They want it dubbed. There's no dub. Well, there kind of is, but it was 6 episodes and it was like an edited dub, and it sucks. So,
if people can watch Initial D, they can watch iShield 21. I'm just saying.
Nobody watches Initial D anymore.
I'm throwing old school animes out there too, but that was the same thing. Let's racetrack down the mountain at the same time.
Initial D is like Sega Saturn graphic bullshit.
But he never tipped over the rice. I'm just saying.
The
tofu.
Tofu, not the rice.
The tofu.
It's very important. Tofu. Rice is solid. Tofu's in liquid. So
he was the revolution. I'm just saying. Sean, I think this is time to wrap up. I think we've hit our time. So, Sean, thank you again for coming out as usual, being an awesome co-host. Everybody who joined tonight, I want to thank y'all as well for comment, rating, subscribe, guys. Hit the notification bell. Remember, I live stream also on Wednesdays now with Swiggy, Justin, and Gavin. And this week, we are going to dive into a little bit 6A2 football as well as 5A. But also, too, we're going to look at the season and make our predictions as a whole. And we're going to have a special guest on talking about the Pride of Oklahoma. So everybody hop on. Would really, really like y'all's company and have some good feedback for that. Again, thanks for joining tonight, guys. Boomer Sooner. Only one Oklahoma. I'll see everybody here next week.